I mean, this is a very, very dynamic map. I feel the zone's going to be flipping back and forth. It's hard to sort of box out in this map. There's several different ways you can get in. You can get in from the two like side angles, dropping down off of the big platform back in your spawn, or just trying to like sneak around, and such. A lot of weapon variety that you can see right here. We are seeing pencils from both sides. Allegro is a very prominent brush player, as you mentioned. We got a wiper and a bucket as well on that team. On the other team, we have a pencil, not a Carbon Roller, and a Forge Pro. That'll be very interesting, especially with the changes to Booyah Bomb. Already specials coming out right here. Wumia trying to get a pick, almost goes down right there, but it is already a zone in the favor of Goats in a Basket. Trades on either side. It's 2v2 right now.
That's a pretty big trade to 2v2. It's going to come down to who gets control of both of these prominent high grounds here. Goes in a Bucket now moving down 270 and climbing an additional pick onto Ball up top. Make that 2 is huge, as Goes in a Bucket will try to move and take the space. Triple splashdown is there. Kuro very low, but gets punished out by Allegro. So Goes in a Bucket still very, very firmly in control, and I love this. I respect this. Wumi is deep. Then Zeta just caught immediately off guard. Yeah, you were talking about closing this out very quickly. Goats in a Bucket are very, very positioned to do that. They are going to take so much space and try to deny so many angles that Ball Top has to play from this back corner, and that's so far from the zone.
Yeah, I was saying that it's very hard to like keep a zone in control for this long, but with this poke, very centrist poke comp on their team, they are able to do it. The zone will flip right here, giving both Goats in a Bucket a massive penalty, but they're probably going to flip it right back right here with thanks to that stamp and Allegro's just massive paint that she puts out right there from the paintbrush. Unfortunately, that stamp kill still was successful, even if it was a little bit of a delay. Zeta right here just trying to find an angle to get somebody, looking to move after the pencil, and that jump unfortunately misses their opportunity and goes down to the Torp right there. They're just playing in neutral right now. Ball up top, Cube can't get back in.
It's so hard for the Carbon, who has to kind of deal with both this kind of rat brush and then also, you know, these other two aggressive frontliners. Like you said, it's a very frontline heavy comp. 3 minutes on the clock, but we're out of penalty, so Goats in a Bucket now with this cooler. Like, they just have the numbers advantage. Wumi's so deep. It's over. There's a wipeout. Yeah, we're going on. Let's just ignore this and go to game 2, Jack, because Goats in a Bucket just absolutely dominated this game. I don't think Ball up top could even, unfortunately, just get out of spawn, let alone...
I don't like Allegro in the Produce aisle just standing up top of the carts and looking at the person on the ink rail just jumping. that was just a little disrespectful. I respect it, but I don't. Very, very, very decisive game 1 right here. Our second game is going to be Clam Blitz on Museum Dolphoncino. This map, oh Jesus.
I'm scared for Ball up top here. Like,
yeah.
We just saw a very aggressive, again, one of these kinds of very aggressive 3-1, like 3 frontline kind of quick slayer positions come out from Goats in a Bucket. And then just the support of having a cooler behind you and just knowing the rest of your team. Like, that is dangerous. Museum is not a big map, but it is big enough with enough kind of side angles that you're not playing. Like, Ball up top is going to have to kind of constantly be on a swivel. It's going to really look to Kuro to kind of call out those flankers, because there is at least going to be at any given point 2 not playing in the central area, the central lane there. So, you know, it's going to really come down to the communication here, because again, there are so many different ways to kind of get this. You can't just sit on spinner and kind of assume that everybody's going to run it down mid, especially for Clam Blitz. Like, once you lose control of your own personal spinner, it's kind of very, very difficult to push it. So we'll have to see. It's going to come down to these midliners.
Yeah, very much so. However, assuming that they don't change up comp, if Ball up top does get a very early start, I do think it will be very hard for Goats in a Bucket to push out against them, because of just how frontline heavy their comp is. Like, if they get moving, I feel like they might be able to steamroll on this map. But that's a big if, because there was a very clear pencil diff in the first match.
Yeah, as I say, unfortunately, we did see one pencil particularly build a lot faster and better coolers that got more value, and that player happened to be on Goats in a Bucket. Yeah, like you said, it's really going to come down to these pencil players, because the specials and particularly the coolers are really helping to dictate a lot of this. Weapon changes, probably nothing coming in from the side of Goats.
Nothing,
No, yeah,
nothing as
in
well
there.
on ball up top. They're just sticking with what they know right here. The Knot, I feel, will have a much easier time on this map. I feel like Splashdown just gets a little bit more value both in clams and also just on this map with its verticality. Wumi right here just trying to take an off angle right now, just trying to play for picks right now. The Knot, unfortunately, the only one down there. They do eventually get some backup, but unfortunately that backup is now dead. Trading 1 for 1 on the side here. Goats in a Bucket are already moving up pretty quickly. However, Allegro has realized that they are a bit alone right now, and they quickly squid surge up that wall. They're moving in quick, and they got some eco to make a push if they can, but that's 2 down on the side of Goats in a Bucket.
Yeah, that's what I wanted at a ball up top, just recognizing when someone's under pressure and to follow in. And that Booyah Bomb is used to get control of mid and to get some pressure back. It looks like the Clam economy also moving towards the way of ball up top. But 2 picks, because they're not clearing angles, making that 3 and almost 4 there. Like, you have to clear your map control, because right now Goats in a Bucket, now coming back with this cooler on board, they're just going to have the full map control, and it's up to ball on top to respond to try to get any sort of like map control back.
Yeah, they really need to do something about that pencil right there, but with how aggressive Allegro and other people are being, it's not allowing them much incentive right now. I'm seeing a lot of Squid Surge right now making full usage of that cooler. I feel like that's a ability, especially with its combo with cooler, that a lot of teams don't make use of, except at this level of play. 2 down on the side of Goat in a Bucket. Ball up top is just trying to hold on right here. Zeta is very clear right now, but they have no way to chase after that pencil who jumps out right here. But they are looking to start a push of their own. They just need to get the eco and not get flanked.
I see I saw a trade in the back there. The stamp comes out from Wumi. This is what I was talking about, though, for ball at top. They need to make sure they clear when they get, though. Just because you win the fight, you need to make sure you clear. Kuro is very deep in enemy lines trying to hold this front line. 1 special up, but it's probably not going to be enough right now, as they don't have the manpower to really pressure this through.
Wonderful splashdown right there, but unfortunately they get picked off by the pencil, and they're still able to jump out because of the pick that pencil provided. Wonderful teamwork right there by Goats in a Bucket, and they're just sitting pretty in their own base. They have more eco, their special usage is pushing them out. They got a kill, make that 2 with Allegro now moving in thanks to those strikes. They have a clear line to the basket and are probably waiting for jumps right here. No, they're taking it in the old-fashioned way.
I did see one go up, and that was exactly what I was going to call out, is it seems like both teams, the wipeout from ball up top is so big, that shut down that immediately, considering they were sending the clam up and sent their own cooler in for this. Neither team really able to kind of get the positioning to get past their enemy spinner and in. They did get a break, so it is going to be 80 to 100 for Goats, but that's still very, very beatable. 2 down on Goats in a Bucket from trying to get those flanks, and Josh here is holding on to it. They have the numbers. They have to go, though. They have to commit this cooler. Great pick. They have to use this now, and they have to get some claims, and they have the economy in their favor. They just have to not be afraid.
Yeah,
but
unfortunately, unfortunately, with the Nautilus down, they don't feel comfortable enough to get the push, and with their teammates jumping in, that's going to be a delay on their push, and that push is now dead, and they're back in mid again. We're at the same point that we were at earlier. I can hear your sighs from here, Sam. Adam trying to get a pick with that Booyah Ball, hits the sign! Miiverse, how dare you!
Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, I'm sighing because thankfully now with these wonderful bars, I can see when you should have stayed in the fight, but it will be enough going to go throw in that in. There's finally 1 push in. They're going to get a few more. They'll get the lead there now, 86, 60 and counting, down to 59. And with a minute 30 left, that is a huge 3 of them down. Adam's still holding onto that flank, but no claims to be seen. They're holding in. They'll be able to get some in there. They'll have to get out of the way. They saw that sprinkler land. That's still a very excellent push for ball up top, though. That keeps them in and alive. So now they can just sit back in this last minute and try to play for defense, try to control the clan economy, because right now ball up top have not been getting first picks in their fights, so they need to make sure they can play. Their defense has been very good. They just need to kind of ride that. But Sig gets an early pick, and that means this push is probably live.
Yeah, right now, Neo right here looking for a thing well with Allegro right now. They have specials ready. These strikes and comboing in with this stamp. Unfortunately, gets shut down right there. Beautiful, beautiful kill by Zeta. Nilla is able to get another one right here, so they are still up on base. They're not entirely pushed back, but wonderful, wonderful kill right now by Kuro. They have Aura activated. The Aura is with them, as a Lucario movie once said, and they do force the jump out. That push is now dead, and that Super Clam is probably going to be gone along with it.
That was a beautiful flank there from Kuro. Not the one I was expecting to get, but that's what you use your Nautilus for. I mean, you don't have to push this if you're ball up top. You just hold the economy, play for the overtime. There is that pity claim still floating in the back. You have specials coming in line. I hope they just play this safe, because Kuro is under so much pressure, and that is not good for them with that pick. That means that this push from Goats in a Bucket is probably coming.
Yeah, right now, especially with Nilla having this thing up in that box. Beautiful splashdown right there, is able to get one. That Booyah Bomb combo takes out two as well. That is a full stop right there. It is just the Splatana, and it looks like they're on one shot right here. Zeta gets the cleanup right there. They are going into overtime. They do still have another super claim, and they got a jump right there. They didn't see it. No! Nilla has a clear way into the base right now, but they are shut down. They can't afford to feed right here. Goats in a Bucket has to be quick, but with that, they're only down to one more person, and that time is going down quick.
Great pressure from Kuro onto this, just constantly taking that chain out. Beautifully done to them to deny the overtime. Ball up top with a very, very strong push in that second attempt. I was worried, Jack. They were playing a little passive there, but that passivity played off for them so well. A well-deserved. And finally, we get our deserved Game 3.
We do. That's a wonderful, wonderful example of adaptation mid-game right there and in between games. I love talking about it, but you have, despite how fast this game is, you need to be able to adapt, because we saw an early lead, an early precedent, even before Goats in a Bucket was able to score. They had just a very dominant control of the area, but Ball Up Top was able to just sort of take their time. And were there some stumbles along the way? Yes, but they were able to just conserve their energy to get a good push and then keep their momentum. They didn't stagger, they didn't feed, they just held on, and they were able to get some crucial kills when they needed and just hold out until Goats in a Bucket ran out of steam. But we'll see if they're able to get their steam back as we head into Ship-Shape Cargo Co., a match that we saw was very dominant in 2 sets ago. Let's see if it's as dominant here.
I do think that Ship Shape with zones does lend Ball Up Top a little bit of a kind of an edge in some ways.
Yes, I would agree. They have a much more.
Their comp is just much more suited to this. They can control the high ground a little bit better, and there's not as many good areas where you can get those kinds of flanks. Like, it's very vertical, so in some ways, Goats in a Bucket are a little bit better equipped for that. They have a bucket. They have two basically that play a little bit more vertical, so they're able to kind of pressure from the low ground. But Ball Up Top, especially if Kuro goes off like that again, like, I do think that they should be able to just kind of play and keep their eyes, because once they have a view of the whole map, Ball Up Top Cube seems to have a very, very good sense of the game.
Yeah, no, they have a wonderful, wonderful game sense, and like they were able to like quickly adapt and realize when they just need to play defensive right there. I don't necessarily know if we'll see that passivity that you were talking about in this game. This is, as you were mentioning, a very poke-heavy comp that we see from Goats in a Bucket is very favorable here, but it might just be a case of the unstoppable force meets another unstoppable force. So we'll just have to see as we go in right here. No changes on either side. They know what works. They found their rhythm, and let's see how that rhythm makes a beautiful melody as we head into Game 3 here.
It's really gonna come down to initially here who gets control of the high ground and who ends up pressuring it off. The first pick goes away on Ball Up Top. That means they're gonna get out of the way. I did see the first, it looked like the first, wow, let's say the specials come out. The first cooler did hit on the side of Ball Up Top, but I believe they passed with it, so they'll have it quick in going to this next fight. But Goats in a Bucket, this is what they're going to do. They're going to push aggressively and try to make Ball Up Top spend to get this, even though they have with control of this. An early wipeout is huge for Ball Up Top. Huge.
Yeah, that's wonderful. They realized that they were down a player as well as just in bad positioning, so they jumped out, forced Goats in a Bucket to chase, and then were just able to pick them off one by one when they got separated. Very, very, very smart play and keeping your cool right here. And now Josh is in a wonderful, wonderful position, just pressuring them with that pencil, not allowing the Goats to escape the bucket that they have climbed in. They might not be crabs in a bucket, but they aren't getting out just as easily. It's 2 down, however, on the side of Ball Up Top. This Booyah Bomb and Splashdown are going to do their best to try to disperse and just hold the line right here. Nilla looking for some type of kill against Kuro right here, forcing Kuro back. Probably going to need a jump out in a second, but they are not getting a way to do so. The zone does flip onto the side of Goats in a Bucket, and they are out back into mid here.
I'm not crazy about Ball Up Top spending those specials to try to deny the push. I would have rather seen them wait, but not exactly in this position to do so. It's going to be a bazooka. Trizuka goes out, gets one with a trade. Still flip control, 48-49 here with about 3.5. It will go back the way of Goats in a Bucket. And I think if Goats in a Bucket just kind of can eventually just press this out, it's a wide enough zone, but there's kind of, Goats just seem to be throwing themselves at this. I want to see a full regroup because Ball Up Top are firmly in control right now. There just needs to be a full regroup from Goats in a Bucket to going into this next fight.
I mean, they hey, that Splatana was able to survive for like quite a while in that corner for much longer than I thought they would. Josh right here is just trying to get some picks right now, but with most of Goats in a Bucket hanging down onto left side, they need to be ready. That Stamp is able to get a kill, trying to combine it with these strikes to get a good flanking. Woomy unfortunately gets shut down by Josh right there. Aura activates, which will allow the pop. I am frozen. Kuro is back in the zone right here. They do take lead, as we see right here. There's 2.5 minutes left on the clock. That all depends on if Goats in a Bucket are able to get together. That beautiful splashdown right there doesn't get anybody, but is able to force them off into the different parts of the zone, and they keep counting down. They're down to 12 points, 11, 10. Is it going to be a game right here?
3. They lose control in the last second. Goats in a Bucket managed to get it back in. The jump in from Kuro is there, and Josh, there comes the rest of the reinforcements. 2 down, 3 down. Ball up top will get it back in control here as Nilla just trying desperately to hang into there, but the reinforcements and cavalry's here. Ball up top gets control and closes it out. That was beautifully done. Ball up top forcing the Goats to kind of just ignore, just kind of basically ignore the objective. This is a classic case of we're looking to try to trade the kills and win the fights, and Ball up top just continued to tick down the zone the whole way through. Whether it was intentional or not, it was a great play. So ball cubed here. They get to go on. Beautifully done from them.
I like to say it's intentional right